Okay, the last question on section 1 of the math test sample for digital SAT sample 2. So there are a few tests. This is test 2. Question 4T goes by itself because it requires a lot of steps. So we're gonna read the problem and we're going to conclude that the minimum number of candles, both small and large, is going to be equal to S small plus large. Maybe we can make this a little bigger, like that. S plus L has to be greater than, at least 200. So let me see if I can underline this. Yeah, 200. So you have to buy at least 200 candles. Maybe we don't need to underline that part. Let me see. So I can go ahead and stop underlining. Yeah, that works. So 200. Also, we know that the price, the small candles cost $4.90 for each small candle, and the large candle is 11.60 times the number of large candles that we buy. You cannot go over the budget, which is $2,200. So once again, let me underline this here. Okay, that's still connected, so let me stop underlining. Okay, so that's going to be in dollars, 2,200. Okay, so what do we do here? Okay, we kind of need to convert the top S plus L into 4.90 S plus 11.60 L. We have to make it equal. So let's start doing that. So I'm not gonna continue underlining, but we know that it's greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. So what I need to do here is solve for S. So we get S is greater than or equal to 200 minus L, right? Because we're gonna take L, subtract an L from both sides of the equation to leave the S alone. What else am I gonna do? I said we need to kind of copy this section. So I need to multiply S times 4.90 so that I get 4.90 S. So I'm going to write 4.90 and I'm going to multiply it times the modified equation S is greater than or equal to 200 minus L. So when that happens, of course, I get 4.90 S, which is what I want. I'm not done with the L's yet, but I'm getting there. Plus, greater than or equal to 200 times 4.9, which is, let me write it, 4.90 times 200 minus, I'm distributing the 4.90, you see, 4.90 times 1L, or just L. Okay, so rewriting 4.90s, because I want the 4.90s, is greater than or equal to 4.90 times 200 is 980, and negative 4.90 times L is negative 4.90 L. Okay, so I'm almost there. I have the first part. Let me see if I can annotate things here. So, okay, so first of all, we know that that's going to be an greater than or equal to but that's not important. So I'm looking at the last two equations, and to make the left side, meaning this side, equal to that side, I'm missing obviously the plus 11.60 L. So I need to add here to the left of my sign, greater than, I need to add plus 11.60 L. But what does that mean? That means that here on the right side of this symbol, greater than, just like an equation on both sides, I need to now add, and I'm going to add it right there, plus 11.60 L. Okay, so let's take a look at this. And can we simplify something? Yes, we can simplify the L's here. So that's what we're gonna do. We're going to simply subtract 490 from 11.60. So that it looks like the 4.90s plus 11.60L is the same as this one. But we have different symbols and different numbers. So, okay, let me go ahead and do that. What's 11.60 minus 4.90? Use a calculator, and so now I have the left side of the top equal to the left side that you see on the bottom, less than 2200. So plus 11.60 L is greater than or equal to, right? So I am going to attempt to underline that. The underlining was a little low, but we get the idea. It's underlined. Okay, so what's gonna be on my right side of the equation? 980 let's see, 980 plus 6.70 L. Okay, now let's do this. If we were to write the 980 plus 67, and look at which side is greater. The S and the L together over here are greater than the 980 and the 670L. So if I were to type the 980 first, let's remember that the S and the L are still greater. We're just switching. 980 plus 6.70 L is less than or equal to, in fact, let me underline, and underline it is. Let me stop underlining. So I'm gonna get 4.90. You can stop underlining, which is not what I wanted. Bear with me. Okay. 4.90 S plus 11.60 L. Now, alright, so this amount right here is less than the S and L amount. S and L amount is less. And this S and L amount, let me change the color here. So we can see clearly and think about this. So the 980 is less than the red amount. And you can see on the bottom that the red amount is less than the blue amount, the 2200. So if green is less than red and red is less than blue, the smallest amount is the one that begins with 980 and the greatest amount is the $2,200. So what does this mean? It means that now I can simply deduct and clearly say that 980, which is the smallest amount of all, plus 6.70 large candles has to be less than or equal to the biggest amount, which is the 2200. So let me underline, since this is the only problem in this video, so we have time. Okay, now let me stop underlining. All right. Let me take away the $sign and the comma to make it easier. So 6.70 L is less than or equal to 2200. So I need to find out the number of large candles. So I need to subtract 980 from each side of that inequality. So let me do minus 980 on the left, and over here let me do the same color, and let me do minus 980 on the right. Okay, so I'm going to erase my annotations here if you need to pause or not. And I'm going to give myself some room to keep working here. So 980 minus 980 is 0. So over here we're going to have 6.70, and then 6.70 L, because this became 0, right? That's a 0. So we get 6.70 L is less than or equal to that doesn't work. Going to have to underline it because it's important. There. All right, so that's going to be less than 2200 minus 980. What would be 2200 minus 980? Using your calculator, you get 1220, and I don't like the red, so let me put it back in black. How do we solve for L? We need to divide both sides by 6.70, and so L is going to be less than or equal to 1220 divided by 6.70. So using your calculator, go ahead and calculate that and see what you get. So the question is, what did your calculator tell you to find L? So L has to be less than, I should have just copy and pasted this for the longest time. So 1220 divided by 6.70 is about 182.09. Now they don't sell you 0.09 of a candle. So the maximum number of large candles, we cannot go to 183 candles because we would be busting the budget that we have, right? So the largest whole number, and we can now say finally that L is equal, it's still underlining, L is equal to 182, of course, large candles. That's the maximum number of large candles, because if you go to 183, you go over budget. So this was the hardest question in the SAT, and I did this for the purpose of those who want to score like great, a perfect score to their scholarship, and because if you follow this slowly and step by step, you can do this. This is like algebra 1, algebra 2 level. You can do all the manipulations and you would know how to target that. Obviously your test is not going to be this hard, but it's good to be exposed to the hardest question. And so I encourage you to look at your notes, redo the questions without looking at your notes, and see if you can do them after studying, if you can do them by yourselves, so you're familiar with the variety of questions that come with the SAT. Remember that the SAT is not only an equivalency for your math EOC, but it is also a way to get scholarships if you score really, really well. So for many reasons, it's good to practice standardized testing, because as soon as you go to college or any other type of schooling after high school, which I recommend you don't stay with just a high school diploma, you are going to be taking tests as part of life. If you're an engineer, anything, a teacher, any profession, if you're an electrician, you need to take a test to get licensed. So practice your testing skills. And thank you very much. I am now going to stop this recording. And once again, if you need my help on any questions that you have, I can help you individually if you so wish. So, Mr. Serrano here for you. Thank you very much.